Last week here on Smashdown, Quad Chaos pulled out the biggest upset of his MTA career, eliminating Raminator inside of the final round showdown, taking home his first Smashdown championship win. Is he going to be able to hold on to that flag here tonight inside of a great field of trucks? We're going to find out next. And there you see the champion right now, Josh Brown, inside of Quad Chaos. Their crew has gone over that truck and made it 110% here tonight. They're again trying to hang on to that championship flag with success. Welcome to Smashdown here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Week 4 of the July season, and we have got 16 monster trucks ready to burn it down on the arena floor for all you great MTA fans. Once again, Josh Brown is the man to beat tonight on Quad Chaos. The championship flag sits, and all these drivers are trying to chase him down and take home a big-time championship win. The course is wicked fast here tonight. These drivers are going to be risking it all trying to become champion inside of Week 4 of the July season here on Smashdown. And right now we're going to be taking a look at how round 1 action is going to be shaken down. Thank you guys so much for riding with us here tonight on the MTA YouTube channel. Virginia Giant set to take on Boss Gator. Maniac's going to be taking on Nightmare. Clydesdale goes one-on-one with Raging Steel. And then Junkyard Dog taking on Snakebite. Other side of your bracket, Brutus getting ready to take on Jester. Gravedigger the Legend takes on Metal Militia. Raminator takes on BKT. And then it's the return of Thrasher taking on the champion in Quad Chaos. And up first here tonight, it's the return of Brian Blank in the Virginia Giant Ford. He's now set to take on Austin Spence inside of the Boss Gator, representing the Crush This race team. He's now ready to go on the outside lane. Brian Blank trying to get a big-time win out here. Add a Smashdown win to his resume. Again, Virginia Giant on the inside now out of Winchester, Virginia. Both driver stage. We're getting round 1 action kicked off here tonight. Week 4 of the July season on Smashdown. Boss Gator and Virginia Giant. Here's the green light now, and down the straightaway they go. Boss Gator with a big-time lead. Virginia Giant trying to come back on him now, and they make contact inside of the shutdown area. But Austin Spence and Boss Gator is your round 1 winner over Virginia Giant. Next up, coming to the line in the all-new Nightmare Dodge machine, Shane Action Jackson ready to rock this house. He's now taking on Matthew Hood. New kid on the block, debuted the brand new Maniac machine at the top of the season. Neither one of these drivers has fared too well on the Smashdown season so far. They meet up here tonight inside of round 1. One of them going on into round 2. Ford and Dodge now, the green light drops down there side by side. Maniac with a slight lead through no man's land. And Matthew Hood will get the win here tonight inside of Maniac over the Nightmare machine. And both drivers let it all hang out, but Matthew Hood and Maniac, your round 1 winner here tonight. And next up, coming to the line, another new kid on the block, Bennett Cartright in the Clydesdale Chevrolet. He'll now be taking on Matt Dempsey in the Raging Steel Chevrolet. We saw him get pretty far a couple of weeks ago. Raging Steel won bad fast truck out here on the MTA circuit. Matt Dempsey seems to have it dialed in. New kid on the block, Bennett Cartright and Clydesdale trying to make a name for himself here tonight. Here's the green light. It's a battle on the Bowtie Chevrolet. Raging Steel now pulling the lead. On 2 wheels, over he goes. Inside of the shutdown area. Matt Dempsey tried to drive out of it, rocked up and rolled over on him as he tried to beat out the Clydesdale machine. And Bennett Cartright went for a ride of his own on the outside lane as we'll break this down one more time on the MTA replay. Look at them side by side down the straightaway. Here comes Raging Steel now on the inside. He gathered it up quick through no man's land. Kind of get bobbled up right here in the shutdown area, put it on 2 wheels. He had no choice but to kind of turn into it, or else he was going to smack the wall. Needless to say, Raging Steel, your round 1 winner here tonight. Up next, it's Colt Cobra out of Cobra Creek, Colorado, represent the Crush This race team in the Ford BDS Supercharged Brass Eagle Snakebite. He's ready to go on the inside lane. He will now take on Ryan Davis. He's out here driving for the Backyard Beast in the beautiful 41 Willys, better known as a Junkyard Dog. Both drivers set and ready. Here's the green light down the straightaway in round 1. Snakebite has a slight lead through no man's land. What a ride for Gene Patterson. Did you see that leap up and over the last set of cars? He gathered it up as he shut the truck down. What a run by Gene Patterson and Snakebite. No question about it, he had his hands full as he got the truck blowing in the shutdown area. We're going to go back and look at the replay. Both drivers cut a great light. Patterson now on the inside starting to pull a slight lead. Up and over the first jump, he settles it down. Look at the leap right here, all out of shape. Sets it on the back of the chassis and brought it around. It was either by luck or he just straight up skill, but Patterson will move on in round 2 after a spectacular run in round 1. But next up coming to the line, the bad boy returns. Johnny Rentlaw in Jester. He's now taking on longtime MTA veteran Greg Dur and Brutus. He's now ready to go on the inside lane. He's out here driving for Team Scream, the Brutus machine. Always wanted to be fierce out here since they rebuilt that truck. Rhett Law, the Monster Mania 6 Night 1 champion in the far lane. Here's the green light down the straightaway they go. Brutus is right there with him through no man's land. What a race! What a matchup! And Brutus turns it over as he makes contact with a backflip ramp. And he got one wheel on the ramp and one wheel off, and that's what sent him over. As we look at the photo finish, your winner is Greg Dur and Brutus. By entirely, he'll put Jester on the trailer here tonight inside of round 1. A great matchup. But next up, your boy Shaggy, Matt Cheever, and Gravedigger the Legend. We saw him take home a big-time win earlier in this season, and it was against this man right here, Jake Erlick and Metal Militia. Both these drivers met in the final round just a couple of weeks ago. You can imagine Jake Erlick wants a little bit of redemption, and Metal Militia on the inside lane. Both drivers staging ready. It's a rematch. Here's the green light down the straightaway. They're side by side through no man's land. Cheever now in trouble. Over he goes. And on this lid, he's in the shutdown area. What a matchup it was. Jake Erlick wasn't going to cut him any slack out here tonight. He knew he had a job to do, and that was put the Legend on the trailer like the Legend did a couple of weeks ago to him. And down the straightaway on our MTA replay, they are side by side. Settles it down in no man's land. Metal Militia will get the win, and Shaggy puts it on 2 wheels, rolls it over once, rolls it over twice. What an incredible matchup here tonight. Cheever is out of the truck, a little shaken up after that violent rollover, and then you see the pieces of the body scattered all across the arena floor, and that's got to be at least the 3rd or 4th body he has torn up on that truck as the MTA officials roll him back over, and the damage has been done to Gravedigger the Legend. There's only so much that these monster trucks will take, and after so many rollovers, the trucks really do take a hard beating out here. We'll have an update on Gravedigger the Legend later on tonight. But next up, coming to the line, 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 and Raminator, the Dodge Camp out of Champaign, Illinois. He is now set to take on Chris Baluk in the BKT machine, the former 3-time Thursday Night Thunder champion, ready to rock the house here tonight on the inside lane. 𝐃𝐨𝐽 and Raminator made it to the finals last week, and they lost out to 𝐾𝐿. Here's the green light down the straightaway they go. BKT's got the lead through no man's land. Look out! The Raminator was coming back on him, but what a ride for Chris Baluk and BKT. What an incredible matchup in round 1. We have got to go back and check out the MTA replay right here as they come down the straightaway. BKT got the whole shot on him by about a truck length down the straightaway. Watch as he hits the first jump. Here comes Raminator now on the outside. A bad bounce over the last set of cars for BKT. Sends it on the nose and just sent it for all it was worth. And over he went inside of the shutdown area, but he gets the win over the Raminator. But now we get set and ready to close out round 1. Luke Brown in the all-new Thrasher machine. It debuted at the top of the season. He now gets the job to take on the reigning and defending Smashdown champion here tonight. It's Josh Brown on the outside lane inside of 𝐾𝐿. He's trying to hang on to that championship flag as we close out round 1 action. Thrasher, 𝐾𝐿. Here's the green light down the straight stretch. They go side by side up and over the first jump now, and it looks like Thrasher and Luke Brown will upset the champion early here tonight inside of round 1. That may have been his first big win of his MTA career. We go back and look at the MTA photo finish. Thrasher gets it by a nose. He'll put the champion on the trailer. And ladies and gentlemen, what a crazy and wild round 1 that was. We sure hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for riding with us. Don't go anywhere. We got more great round 2 action coming up next. We're going to go ahead and take a look at how the bracket is going to be shaken down. And right now, this is how round 2 action is going to be breaking down. We're going to see the return of Boss Gator take on the Maniac. Raging Steel takes on Snakebite. Then Brutus is going to take on Metal Militia. Then we're going to see the return of BKT taking on Thrasher, who just eliminated the champion in 𝐾𝐿. But let's talk about Matthew Hood a little bit. New kid on the block. Debuted a brand new piece of equipment at the top of the season. He's been working the bugs out of that truck. He now draws up a tall order because Austin Spence inside of the Boss Gator. Y'all know what he's capable of out here on the MTA circuit. He's driving for the Crustless race team. They don't send no slack out here. They got a great solid piece of equipment in that far lane. Here's the green light now in round 2. Down the straightaway they go. Boss Gator with a slight lead, but the Maniac's coming back on him now. What a matchup it was. A great race here to kick off round 2 action. And I do believe Maniac may have had enough in the tank to come back on him over the last set of cars. As we go back down and check out the MTA photo finish, here's the first look at the first frame. Maniac had him by about 3/4 of a tire. And as you see in the second frame, it's Maniac who will inch out the Boss Gator here tonight. He's moving on in the semis. But But next up, coming to the line, we saw him go for a spectacular ride earlier tonight inside of round 1. Cobra returning in Snakebite. He will now take on Matt Dempsey in the Raging Steel Chevrolet on the inside lane here. We saw him roll the truck over down the inside of the shutdown area earlier tonight. He's back and ready. A Ford and Chevrolet matchup. Crush this race team again on the outside lane. Here's the green light. Snakebite, Raging Steel. Snakebite with a big time lead. Raging Steel coming back. Patterson's out of shape through no man's land once again. And the experience here on the MTA circuit showing off in the Snakebite machine. He gathered it up and kept it down on all fours. We go back to the MTA replay, but Snakebite on the outside lane has a lead on Raging Steel. Here he comes now. Matt Dempsey on the inside trying to play catch up on him. Look at how out of control Patterson is, and he still pulled out the win on the outside lane. Snakebite will advance on into our semifinal competition here tonight. He will beat out Raging Steel here in round 2. Next up, coming to the line, Jake Erlick, who's had a whole new experience on the MTA track in the brand new Metal Militia. He's now ready to take on a longtime veteran, Greg Dur, out here tonight from the Team Scream camp in Brutus. He's ready to go on the inside lane here. He's ready to throw down against Metal Militia and trying to take home a Smashdown victory for the first time in his career. Both truck stage. Here's the green light down the straight stretch to go. Metal Militia pulled on him. Here goes Brutus on the inside. And Jake Erlick will get the win over Greg Dur and Brutus here in round 2. Both drivers put up a great matchup here tonight, but it was Metal Militia moving on in the semis. Now as we get ready to close out round 2 action, Luke Brown earlier tonight, we saw him take out the champion in Quad Chaos. He's now going to be taking on Chris Baluk in the BKT machine. Again, former 3-time Thursday Night Thunder champion. Normal driver of War Wizard. He's back in his old ride, ready to throw down on the inside here. We're going to see what he's got against Luke Brown and Thrasher, the Ford camp on the outside lane. Who's going on in the semis? Here's the green light down the straight stretch. BKT with a lead on him. He's trying to hold out on what a race it is. And Luke Brown was coming back on him towards the end as they crossed the finish line. Still not sure who got the round 2 victory. As we go back and look at the photo finish, it's going to be Chris Baluk in BKT. He'll put Thrasher on the trailer here tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, we're getting word. We are down inside of the MTA pit area where Gravedigger, the Legend, and crew are down there trying to salvage what they can off that machine after Shaggy turned it over here tonight inside of round 1. A lot of work to be done. However, they called down the road and they were able to bring up the backup Gravedigger, the Legend, if they need it next week to close out the season. But nonetheless, the Gravedigger, the Legend crew is in all kinds of trouble after tonight, and hopefully we'll see them back by next week. But right now we're back with semifinal action. We're going to see the return of New Kid on the block. Matthew Hood and Maniac. He'll be taking on Gene Patterson and Snakebite, who's absolutely been on a rail thus far. Next up, we're going to see Metal Militia taking on BKT to close out semifinal action. And right now, we were just talking about him, Colt Cobra, Gene Patterson, and Snakebite. Again, he's had some wild rides here tonight inside of round 1 and round 2. Again, he's taking on New Kid, Matthew Hood, and the all-new Maniac, the Ford camp, ready to go on the inside lane. So it will be a battle of 2 Ford power plants here tonight to kick off semifinal action. Snakebite representing Crush This. Here's the green light. Semis down the straightaway they go. They're side by side up there with the first jump here. And Snakebite will pull it out. Patterson's going to the finals. What a spectacular ride. And I think Matthew Hood had all kinds of problems as he got into no man's land right there on that inside lane. We're going to go back and take another look. Right here they come down the straightaway. Both drivers cut a good light. Maniac may be slightly ahead. Watch him now on the inside lane. Over the first jump, he settles it down. Shot towards the inside of the track over the bus ramp instead of the racing lane. And I do believe that's what gave Patterson the advantage. Snakebite is in the finals. Who will he meet there? Because Jake Erlick has been on a rail here as of late in the all-new Metal Militia. He will now take on Chris Baluk in BK2, who's ready to go on the outside lane. Both these drivers are trying to make it to the final round showdown. We saw Jake Erlick and Metal Militia do it just 2 weeks ago here on Smashdown. Can he do it again? Green light goes down on the line. Metal Militia pulled a big-time lead through no man's land. What a ride, and Baluk tried to catch up with him in BKT on the outside lane, but it was all Jake Erlick. That is a man on a mission. He wants that championship win bad, and that will set up the final round showdown. Metal Militia takes on Snakebite. The finals are coming up next. We'll be right back. Well, the finals are coming up next, but I want to take a minute and remind all of you watching here tonight, be sure to check out the Crush This podcast Tuesday nights on Facebook and YouTube. Dana Gosh and Bradshaw do an awesome job breaking down interviews with drivers and crew members inside of the monster truck industry. So be sure to check out the Crush This podcast on YouTube and Facebook. And crush this tonight, we'll have Alan Pizzo from the Predator race team on their show, so be sure to check those guys out. Right now, we're going to tell the tale of the tape here in the finals. Snakebite eliminated Junkyard Dog, Raging Steel, and Maniac to get to the finals. Other side of the bracket, Metal Militia took out Gravedigger, the Legend, Brutus, and then BKT to make his way in the final round showdown. And what a great matchup we have here tonight, because from the Crush This race team, Colt, Cobra, and Snakebite is back. Again, he's had some wild, spectacular rides here on this episode of Smashdown. He is now ready to take on Jake Erlick and Metal Militia. The kid's been around for quite some time on the MTA YouTube channel. He's the former driver of the Aftershock Chevrolet, now finding a new home in Metal Militia. It's a Ford Over Brigade shootout in the finals. Ladies and gentlemen, Snakebite, Metal Militia. It's showtime here tonight. Down the straightaway they go, side by side. Metal Militia with a lead on him now, but Patterson was trying to come back on him and close the gap over the last set of cars. I do believe Metal Militia got the win. We're going to go back down and confirm this with the MTA replay. And right now, as we go back to the top of the track and show you guys how it all went down, Metal Militia got the whole shot on Snakebite. Down the straightaway they go. He still has a slight lead up and over the first jump. They settle it down to the last set of cars, and Jake Erlick and Metal Militia is your winner. And what a save by Patterson and Snakebite on the outside. But ladies and gentlemen, at this time, give it up for your all-new Smashdown champion, Jake Erlick, Metal Militia. And ladies and gentlemen, what an awesome, incredible show. We had a lot of wild crashes and some great close racing all night long. Thank you guys so much for riding with us here on the MTA YouTube channel. Thank you guys once again. Be sure to crush that subscribe button, and I'll catch you down the road. See you next time.